So Senator John Barrasso fires back at Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer for the Democrats' lies, saying that the Republicans are taking away people's food stamps.
Mr. President, today I'd like to start with a quote. Here it is. Quote is, "It is time to pass a clean continuing resolution and end this shutdown today." Goes on to say, no half measures and no gamesmanship. Those are the words from the American Federation of Government Employees. Not Fox News, not the National Review, not the Wall Street Journal, no. These are the words of the American Federation of Government Employees. Let me tell you about the organization. They are the largest union in America for federal workers. They were proud promoters a couple of weeks ago of the far left's radical rally. They're a very liberal group that has sued the Trump administration now more than a dozen times in the past year. This is a group that endorsed Kamala Harris for president. 100% of their 2024 campaign war chest went to Democrats. Even my friend and colleague who's on the floor right now, Dick Durbin of Illinois, the Democrat whip, admits, quote, "They are our friends. We take them seriously." This labor union is one of the Democrats' biggest cheerleaders. And today they are calling out Democrats for playing politics and holding hostages of the paychecks of over 800,000 federal workers. If that doesn't push the Democrats to wake up and reopen the government, hard to tell what will. We are now on day 29 of the Schumer shutdown, and Democrats have set a record for the longest full government shutdown in American history. Union after union are begging the Democrats to open the government. It's not only this American Federation of Government Employees. Oh, no, it's the head of the Capitol Police Union. The head of the Capitol Police Union warns the longer the shutdown goes on, the harder it becomes for our officers. The president of the Teamsters Union says American workers are not bargaining chips. Senators should stop screwing around and pass the House-passed clean, short-term funding resolution. The head of the National Air Traffic Controllers, their union warns the message is simple: end the shutdown today. There is no excuse, the union leader says, that these hardworking men and women are showing up to do this job and to not even know when or if they're going to get paid. These are working Americans, and their paychecks are missing. And at the same time their paychecks are missing, their bills are mounting. And the stress that they're suffering is multiplying. The message is clear: reopen the government today. Democrats refuse to listen. Instead, they freely admit it's all about politics. They're playing a big and dangerous game of politics, and it's a politics of pain. The minority leader, Schumer, gloated. He gloated this month to the press in a sit-down interview with Punchbowl News. He says, every day gets better for us. I'm not sure who the us is, but it's not the American people. Then you have the whip in the House on the Democrat side of the aisle. What did she say? She admitted to Fox News. She said, of course there will be families that will suffer, but it is one of the few leveraged times that we have. That's not somebody that's serious about taking care of people and making sure we get the government open. And even my friend and colleague Chris Coons of Delaware just last Thursday told a national television audience on C-SPAN, quote, frankly, this is our only moment of leverage. And he called the shutdown an unpleasant tool. He's voted 13 times to keep using this unpleasant tool to keep the government closed. Now, those are the words of high-ranking Democrats in both the House and the Senate. And at the same time, vulnerable mothers and children are being described as leverage so Democrats can give free health care to illegal immigrants. That's what they're doing, using the American people as leverage, as pawns in their big game of politics. And what are their demands? Health care for illegal immigrants. It's reckless, it's radical, and it is wrong. This suffering, the, quote, unpleasantness, is going to get worse as the weeks go on. unless the Democrats vote to reopen the government. Air traffic controllers missed their first full paychecks yesterday. 1.8 million federal workers missed their full paycheck on Friday. This includes Border Patrol agents, TSA agents. By the end of the week, 42 million Americans will lose food assistance. The Democrats call that unpleasantness. Lines at food banks are already swelling. The New York Times reports food banks are anticipating an even greater surge in demand. What do the Democrats call that? Unpleasantness, so they can have leverage. Families from New Hampshire to Georgia are going to go hungry because Democrats choose to close the government and refuse to open it. What do the Democrats call that? Unpleasantness. Democrats know the president can't legally use emergency funds to the tune of $9 billion per month for food assistance. Democrats have an option. Vote for a clean, continuing resolution and reopen the government. Of course, the Schumer shutdown is not only a financial issue, it's also causing a crisis in national security. This past weekend, 1 in 6 air traffic controllers nationwide, in terms of the locations, the centers, were understaffed. Since Sunday, nearly 20,000 flights have been delayed. What do the Democrats call that? Unpleasantness. Some Democrats privately say they're not going to budge unless, quote, planes are falling out of the sky. That's their definition of unpleasantness. Democrats continue to embrace the politics of pain. Democrats have chosen leverage over the lives of people in this country. They've chosen leverage over because they want to fight Trump. They should be feeding our families. They're choosing politics over paychecks. The American people deserve better. We're not getting it from the Democrats in this body. Senate Republicans have voted 13 times for a clean, short-term, continuing resolution to reopen the government and pay every federal worker. 13 times Senate Democrats have voted no. Under Joe Biden, they voted 13 times for the exact same kind of clean, continuing resolution. They voted yes all of those times. Here's the math everybody in this chamber understands. It takes 60 votes to reopen the government. 55 senators have voted to reopen the government time and time again. That means we need 5 more Democrats to end the shutdown. Republicans are absolutely ready to pay for our nation's workers, to feed our nation's families, and to reopen the government. Democrats continue to vote against this, seem to be committed to what House Democrat whip admits is suffering and what Senator Coons continues to call unpleasantness. Democrats need to stop playing this dangerous game of the politics of pain. They need to reopen the government, and they need to do it today. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
The Republicans are not taking a single thing away from the American people. In fact, there is only one Republican who has dissented for the clean resolution bill that has been brought up in Congress 14 times. It is the Democrats who refuse to sign that clean bill with no partisan issues in it whatsoever, just for the sheer fact that they are holding the American people hostage. And they know if they sign that clean CR bill, the government's back open and they lose all their leverage. So they are playing chicken with millions of American people's lives across the nation. And there are actually people out there who are sitting there and think that the Democrats are the good guys in this situation. All that the Republicans truly want is common sense stuff. We don't want to fund illegal immigrants' health care any longer. That is a $1.5 trillion expenditure for a country that is $38 trillion in debt. Does that make any sense fiscally? I don't think the Democrats have a lick of economic sense. We need to turn this ship around and make sure that we start looking out for Americans and American citizens first. That's what Donald Trump and this movement is all about. So the Democrats want to sit there and say, people are going to go starving because of the Republicans. You need 60 senators to sign on to this bill just in order to get the government back open. The Republicans have 53 seats in the Senate, so they need 7 Democrats to come over just to get the government lights back on, but they have refused to do so time and time again because they're not looking out for Americans. They're trying to pursue their own political interests and further their own agenda at the cost of Americans. It's wrong and deceitful because these are the same people who are supposed to be looking out for us, yet they're actively throwing us under a bus just so that they can get more political points for themselves. Chuck Schumer is the madman behind all of this, and he's scared that AOC is going to challenge him for his Senate seat, and he probably will get smoked by her in the Senate race. So he decides, you know what, if I just put my foot down to Trump and make a big scene, maybe I can rally up some support and then AOC won't challenge me. That's all that this is about right here, and it is wrong, it is deceitful, and hopefully no Americans are actually buying this BS. So all the senators, I urge you, please stay the course, do not cower, do not wave. America does not negotiate with terrorists, and that's what these lunatics are doing, because they're basically terrorizing Americans for their own benefit. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. How long do you think this shutdown is going to last? And who do you think from the Democratic side will come over, common sense and reality, and finally sign on to that clean CR bill? Let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.